The theme today is working smarter, not harder. And that goes for creating content, getting leads for your business, or making the impact that you want to make in the world. Today, we have Billy Sammons on the podcast to talk about how to generate warm leads for your business using your podcast and your local community. I don't think we've ever had a conversation like this where it's really about making an impact locally instead of just focusing internationally or focusing on virtual conversations. How can we give back to our community and make a positive impact, which then can generate warm leads for our businesses? Please join me in welcoming Billy to the podcast. Welcome to Podcasting Unlocked, the show for purpose-driven podcasters. I'm Alicia Galati, founder of Galati Media, and I'm here to share actionable strategies to help you amplify your message and grow your audience. Hello, Billy. I'm so excited to have you on the podcast. If you could start by telling everyone who you are, what you do, and a bit about your podcast.
Yeah. So I'm Billy Sammons. I help entrepreneurs with their warm marketing, specifically people that are just tired of cold leads, tired of paying for leads. They're sick of everybody and they just want to make more of an impact in their community and meet more people. And that's who I help. And my podcast it's been going on for a while. So I do a lot of video podcasting to meet people in my community. I've been doing it for 15 years now on and off. So
You're
it's
an
been
OG.
a while I've been doing it. I've been doing it for quite some time. The last one I did was a little bit of time ago. And then I'm like thinking to myself, had I just kept it up every week, I would be crushing it now because I was doing it before it was cool. And now I picked it back up in the last few years. And I'm like, well, now everybody's doing one, but
Right.
it's still a great way to meet people.
Yeah, I got to say, I have social anxiety. And so being in big groups of people,
Yeah.
I'm not interested in meeting people that way at all.
Yeah.
And so having one-on-one conversations where we can go deep and have meaningful, yes, that is what I want. That is what I love. And so I love podcasting for that. Now, what was different for you? I always like to ask this question for people who have been here quite longer than the majority of podcasters. What are some things that were different at the beginning that you noticed that maybe you have to shift or adjust now for podcasting?
The equipment. Oh, that's a big one because the equipment is so much more and there's a lot to it back then. So 15, 16 years ago, I had to have the camera and the plug-in mics and all this. The whole setup was a lot. Now you just need just $10 mic, little lapel mics for $15. It's so easy. The barrier of entry is so low that it makes it easy. And now we have all these different platforms, like using Riverside today. You didn't have that stuff back then. You didn't have the platforms or the way to get it out and all social media, and you didn't have all these options and opportunities. You even have things like Opus and all these AIs that chop it up into little segments and stuff too. You had to do all that manually through Adobe. Now you got all these different options and all these different things that make it so streamlined that's, like I said at the beginning, it seems like everybody's doing one now because you can. So I think that was the biggest thing. The equipment is so much easier now.
Yeah, I started my first podcast, because it's been quite a few at this point.
Reinvent yourself,
Right?
yeah.
And so my first podcast was in 2018. And so I remember starting with maybe $50 mic because that's what I could afford at the time. And then having to learn how to edit the audio and then being very anti-video because I didn't feel like showing my face. And then there's so many different things now. I love that we have these tools accessible to us. And
Yeah.
I mean, even as someone who works in the podcasting space, there are tools that help you do this.
Yep.
You don't necessarily need to hire someone. Sure, you might need someone for the strategy, or if you want more in-depth editing, then yeah, you might need to hire somebody.
Yeah.
We have one client where it's probably one of our most complex projects where they're actually the transitions from in the video have they're telling their story using songs.
Oh, that's cool.
Part of my life, here's my leadership journey. Here are 5 songs from childhood to now that kind of shaped me or exemplified that area of my life. So
That is
really
cool.
unique and fun. But she's throwing in pictures of them at those ages and stages of their lives. And it's now we're scouring social media and we're asking the guests for all their, and then we're transitioning in and out. Sure, that one you might need to hire somebody. But if it's literally just you talking into a microphone and sharing your thing and you don't need a lot of editing, then you're good. You don't need to hire somebody.
Are you using a lot of AI pictures for that kind of stuff too?
No.
You can cheat. You can use the hacks. You can go in there and find some of those pictures and stuff.
I know we're trying to keep it as non-AI photo as we can and keeping it to the person's actual photos.
So one of the ones I did was with a local farm in our area, right? They have found old British colonial artifacts buried. And so when I
Wow.
did the podcast with them, I was able to get a little clips of old British revolutionary soldiers and sneak it in there. And it felt like a documentary, and it didn't look too AI. It looked documentary style because we were able
Nice.
to make it pretty realistic. And it was a bunch of just soldiers setting up camp along the riverside, like they would have been, 300 years ago. So that kind of cool stuff you can start sneaking in there
Right.
and kind of like, as long as it doesn't, like you said, doesn't look so AI or so wonky or cheesy, you can sneak some cool stuff in there though.
Yeah, and I think it really is a balance, right? So my kids are homeschooled and they have this video class that we use time for learning for their curriculum or whatever. In my oldest one's English class right now, there's like an AI teacher for some of the videos, and it's literally just a guy, and the only thing moving is his head, and his hands are like
That's
this the whole
terrible.
time, and his mouth and his and like the
Yeah.
cadence is weird. It's hard to even focus on what he's even saying, and I'm like, all right, that's too far. Like we gotta find
Yeah,
a
it's not doing you any
balance
good.
here,
Not doing you any good.
right?
They should just have William Shakespeare teaching him his English. I should do that. Just
It was
switch it
about
up.
poetry.
Yeah. Hey, what's the best way to get kids to love poetry? Let's make a weird AI guy who can make them like it's already tough enough. It's
Okay, so for people who are like cold marketing, warm marketing, what does
yeah,
all of that mean in getting cold leads, hot leads,
yeah,
etc.? My degree's in marketing, so I know. But for anyone who's listening who's like, maybe I'm new to this or I don't really understand how this all ties
yeah.
into podcasting, can you give us a breakdown of those?
Yeah, my very biased definition of cold marketing is if it sucks, then you're doing cold marketing. That's the way it is. That's how you know. You're like, God, this is really awful. Like, I just hate doing this. No, cold leads is when you don't know the person at all. It's like walking into a bar and walking up to that first person sitting on a stool and just talking to them. Like sometimes that works, but a lot of time that does not work. And a lot of times you get people that are angry at you for calling at certain times of day and stop, leave me alone. It's just, I hated doing it. I did it for like 1 week in the very beginning. And I knew right away that was not how I was going to run my business. So warm marketing on the opposite is going to be people you know, either through introductions or, some people in your community, or they see you out and about doing things for charities and so forth. And so there's a connection already established. So that makes it way more trustworthy. It makes it a little less seamless, and it's just way better to help people in your own community that already know you and already kind of like you and already trust you a little bit. And so that's the way I've run my entire business, is through warm marketing and referrals and knowing the people and giving value back to the community and doing things like that.
The warm leads, and you mentioned paid ads in the beginning and having to pay for your
Yeah.
leads and stuff like that. And you also hear, at least, so I run an agency, so you hear a lot in the agency space, you're not going to survive on referrals only. And I honestly hate that
Yeah.
because it's like,
I agree with you.
how big do I want my business to be? That's up to me, not up to you. Right. And so, like, I want my business to be sustainable growth and I want it to make sense for my lifestyle. And that doesn't look like serving 50 clients that are cold leads and then
Yep.
having massive turnover and then having to
Yep.
constantly chase after people or find new leads. Like, that just doesn't feel good. And so, what do you say to that? This idea of like, well, I have to either pay for my leads or I have to build this business that is doing cold leads so I can make the amount of money that I need to be making.
Yeah. So you could actually, for the price of like under $50, do warm marketing. So the way I teach it is I teach it that all you need is your phone, because we talked about equipment in the very beginning. All you need is your phone. It does everything you need it to do. I train people to get a little lapel mic, so that way you can hear you a little bit better, for like $19 on Amazon. And then a tripod, so you're not holding it the whole time while you're interviewing and talking to business owners. And that's another $15. So if you think buying leads is the way to do it, I can show you a way to save thousands of dollars right off the get-go, and think about how fewer people you actually need to meet, in order to make up the difference of $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 of cold lead budget per month. You'd have to meet less people, less work, less reps. And then once you do it, what I always teach is to go to local business owners themselves and I do videos for them mostly and podcasts. And I do that to make those connections.
Right.
Once you give to them something of value to help them with their business, you start making those genuine connections. And at this point, over 15 years, I pretty much know all the business owners in my community. I know everybody at this point because I just go in there and I do stuff. And then they talk to each other. Oh, you're having a hard time? Call Billy. He'll come in and do some stuff for you. I don't really charge because I see it as my marketing budget. My time is my marketing budget.
Right.
So I go in there and I create content, and I have all the systems set up where you got it in emails and YouTube, and I have all the different places I share it. And I just meet all the people I need to meet. And as I give and I give, in the end, you'll get the things you want in return, and don't ask for anything in return, and just, you'll get you'll get it. It'll come back to you. So
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And I think that even virtually, right? So, like, you're doing a lot more local. I don't
yeah.
like going out and meeting people. So local's just not going to be it for me. But one thing I like to do is do workshops in other communities
Yeah.
and like give value as much as I possibly can. And that has led to more connection calls than, say, I posted on social media again for the 50th time and 2 people liked my post,
Yeah,
right?
you don't.
Like,
It's not happening.
not worth it.
Well, all right. Let's talk about it. So let's say you don't like getting out into the community, right? So the reason this whole thing started for me is because I was seeing more and more box stores pop up around here,
Mm,
and I was starting to get sick of it. I think that the small businesses are the personality of my community, and I have one or two things: I consider complain about it, or I can get out there and do something about it.
right.
So if I'm helping that business, helping get my audience, right, and more people go through their doors and they're more successful, I'm having a positive impact on my community. And it always drives me nuts when I see a close sign on
Yeah.
some of those businesses, because it happens. And in down deep, I'm thinking to myself, well, that's my fault. I should have done a little bit more. I should have gotten 10 more people through the door. I know it's irrational. It's not really the way it would happen, but I have that gut reaction of like, I should have got more people there. I should have done a few more things to help them out. And I should have, because as you make that positive impact on your community, it feels good. Like you feel great. And so the days, like you said, we don't feel like doing it, or I don't want to get out there and reach, I'm giving,
Mhm.
I'm helping that local business stay afloat. So it becomes my responsibility, and so that's what motivates me on the days that I don't feel like doing it, or I don't want to today or whatever. Well, they need me, they need me to be in there and help out a little bit. So that's kind of the little push I give myself.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense. And I love that your focus is your local community and the story behind why, because then you can use that as a way to be like, look, I'm just trying to do good for my
Yeah.
community, good for my local businesses. And then I think it really is that reciprocity, right? So, like, even if you do have more of a
Yep.
virtual show and we're interviewing from different places, then I can say, and this is something that I typically do, is after the interview, how did you feel about that podcast episode? Like, how did you feel about the interview? And usually they're like, well, how do you feel about it? I'm like, I think it's great. I want to make sure you feel good about it because you're like, I want to make sure I'm promoting you well. And then, like, we kind of talk about that a little bit. And then afterwards, I'll say, is there anything I can do to support you? And I genuinely want to know, right? Because I
Yeah.
genuinely care about this person that I just spent 30 to 40 minutes talking to.
That's
I
it.
actually
Yep.
genuinely want to help you and support you. Are there any connections you need me to make? Is there anyone I can refer you to? Or are you looking for any particular business that you need to spend your money with? And so being in this space and being in the online space so long has allowed me to do that and be like, all right, here you go. Let's go ahead and connect people. And then when someone's like, oh, someone needs help with their podcasting, Alicia does podcasting, right? I'm top of
Yes.
mind. And I'm like, you know what? Yes. And
As
my
a matter of
ask
fact.
is never, I need more clients, send them my way. My ask is, if you know anyone who has a community that's looking for guest
Yes.
speakers,
Yeah.
right? And then it puts me in front of people that I maybe have never met or connected with because I knew someone who can make that
Yep.
introduction. So I think it's such a strategic way. And it is such a better use of our time than, hello,
Bugging
my
people.
name's
Yeah.
Alicia.
Painful. So painful. I don't know. People that do it, good for them. They make a living out of it in the hustle. But if you had that 2 hour block of time, which is what most people are trained to, 2 hours of phone calls. If you took those 2 hours and went out and met a couple business owners and added some value to their lives, so much cheaper,
Yeah.
so much more effective. And you could be proud of a business that you're giving back to your community. It's just better.
So for anyone who's like, all right, this feels really overwhelming. Maybe I don't want to go out and meet people. You have a challenge that helps them kind of walk through step by step. Here's some easy ways to do it. So tell us a little bit more about that challenge.
Yeah. So my quick origin story is I used to be a teacher
Nice.
and an adjunct professor at the community college before I got into real estate, and that parlayed into marketing. So I have those bones in my body, like the teaching, and I want to actually give and do the stuff. It's just that's never actually left me. And so the 5 day challenge is a chance to take a sample. It rushes you through like a typical course that I teach, and it gives you like the diet version of it to say, all right, how do I get in front of somebody? How do I do this? How do I, like, what's the reason I'm doing this? And all the different things. And so if you go through and you're like, hey, that was really fun. I met a few people. This is great. I want more. Then that's when the course steps in. And the course has got the handouts and the guides and the scripts and the 12 years of me making tons of mistakes. So that way you can just hop right in and just get right to all the stuff that works. And that's what the course is about. But I want you to sample it first. I want you to say, all right, I don't know, but let me see what it is. And so that's what always offered. And if people that will listen to your show, if they finish the 5-day challenge, I'll send them my book for free.
Nice. What's the name of the book? For anyone who's like, oh, I want to check that out. What's the name?
It's called Warm Marketing, the New Currency. And it's also on the website. So if you go to the website, the book will be there. The courses will be there. The blog will be there. So you can try out all the different things. And the LinkedIn, if you wanted to hop on and follow me and see what I got going on. All that stuff's on the website, www.livelocalwarmmarketing.com. And it's got everything. So if you finish the 5-day challenge, I'll send you a book.
Very
if you go
nice.
to the website, it's got all the goodies.
Perfect. And for people who are like, all right, well, I'm a podcaster and I'm just trying to, maybe I don't necessarily need to make money with this idea, but I want to make a positive impact. Does that also work for them as well?
So I actually have, weirdly enough, like 2 weeks ago, a podcaster from Niger, and he wanted to get a big old audience, but he also, on the days that he wasn't doing international podcasting, wanted to get out in his community and do spotlight pieces of people in his community, and he wanted to make an impact that way. So he's actually balancing the two out.
Nice.
So he's got like certain days where he's doing the regular international podcast, and he's got like one day a week where he's going out and meeting business owners and people in his community. So it's still a great way to have an array of content in your cache or on your website where it's got some local flavor, it's got some international flavor. You have all kinds of options. And then you have these skills, these podcasting skills that you can actually give back to your community and make a difference. So it's a nice option if you're still drawing your audience nationally, but also want to, get some reps in and do some stuff for your community too. It's a great idea.
Yeah. I'm like even thinking like, why didn't I think of that? Social anxiety. But beyond that, like, I feel like it would be so good.
I get that a lot.
Right?
I should have thought of that. Most of the people I run into that use the course have a full-time business and need this as their marketing.
Right.
So I have simplified it to the point where like, you don't need to do much because you're not supposed to be doing much. You're supposed to be running a business. And then this is just supposed to be your marketing. So it should only take up like 20% of your week. And if it's any more complicated than that, then you're leaving your full-time job and you know what I mean? Like it's not your full-time job anymore.
Right.
And so it's supposed to be simple and affordable and easy. Because if it's not, you won't do it.
Right.
It's all intentional. Like I always, when you hop in a course and take it, the first thing I say is like, when you're done with this, I need you to say, oh, that's it. It's really easy. Because then you have no reason not to do it. So that's the whole thing. Simplify and simplify and simplify.
Yeah. And especially for people who are maybe podcasters who are in bigger cities, like you have such an array of different types of businesses, right? Like maybe you don't offer marketing strategy to people. Maybe you do yoga, right? And you go in and you interview other complementary businesses that then they can refer business to you. You can refer business to them, right? Like there's so many different ways that you can spin this and make this work for you. So I absolutely love that. I want to highlight what you said at the beginning. If it feels hard, it's cold marketing. I'm like, let's make this easy. We're going into a new year while we're recording this and when it goes live. And I know a lot of us as business owners or just people trying to do things in the world, we're like, I need to add more to my plate. Let's maybe add less to the plate and make it easier.
Less budget, less everything, less. It's more effective. Like that's the beauty of it. Like you're spending less, you're doing a little bit less, but you're also meeting all the people and you're making all the connections. Like it has the best of both worlds.
Yes. Oh, so good. Billy, again, can you tell us what that website is? And thank you so much. This has been so wonderful.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. It's www.livelocalwarmmarketing.com. It'll have the book, the free course, the paid course, and the blog.
Awesome. And we'll have links for that in the show notes and the YouTube description for anyone doing other things while they're listening or watching us. Thank you again. This was a blast.
Yeah, thank you for having me on. This is awesome.